about all the different opportunities that we have for hunting here in New Mexico. So the man that's going to be talking in the video, his name is Shane Mahoney. Okay, Shane Mahoney, and he's going to introduce himself, and he's going to talk about the Wild Harvest Initiative. Okay, the Wild Harvest Initiative. Again, 15 minutes long. Don't leave. All right, I know it's a long video, but stay paying attention. Try to think about the things that you didn't already know, the things that you're learning as you're watching this. Okay. All right, so here we go. Let's see. Here's our presentation for the day. It even looks different than all my other ones, right? So here's some hunting, and we're going to go straight to our video. And as soon as it's done, I'll come back on and we'll start talking about things. And if you have a piece of paper and you want to write things down that you remember that you want to talk to me about, you can do that too. Otherwise, just remember them in your head and we'll have time to talk afterwards. Okay, guys? Everybody ready? You know what I think I didn't do? Hold on. I did not click the share sound. I would have started the video and you guys would have been like, Miss Sarah, I can't hear the sound. So here we go.
Imagine if hunting and angling were to disappear. Would you care? Would it impact you? Would it change the world around you? Nearly 45 million people hunt and fish recreationally each year in the United States and Canada, bringing hundreds of millions of pounds of healthy food to our tables. Yet, no serious effort has been made to assess the actual amount or the economic value and dietary significance of the wild meat and fish that we harvest and consume. The recreational harvest of wildlife in North America is one of the most sustainable, healthy, and environmentally friendly food procurement systems in existence. However, we do not know its real economic, social, or conservation value. How many pounds of locally sourced protein do we get from wild harvested fish and game each year? How much of this food will be shared with family and friends, and with people who do not hunt or fish? What does this mean for our food security? What could this mean for our food insecurity? How much would it cost to replace this wild food through agriculture and aquaculture? How much wildlife habitat would have to be converted, and how much fuel, water, fertilizer, and pesticides would be required? What would the harvesting, processing, and transportation costs be? Harm to the environment. The short answer is, today, we don't know. The Wild Harvest Initiative will tell us. One of the things that may surprise a lot of people, I guess, in Canada and the United States is the sheer numbers of citizens who face food insecurity. That number is about 44 million people.
I'm going to stop it really quick. Who can tell me what food insecurity means? Does anybody know before we move on?
No.
No. Michaela has her hand up. Michaela, can you tell me what food insecurity means?
Means you can't have a lot of food because you can't afford food.
Yeah, perfect. Food insecurity means that we have a lot of people in our country that don't have the means, meaning they don't have the money to buy food. So they don't have food to put in their bellies every single day, right? So sometimes they're hungry and they don't have something to eat. Okay, so I wanted to make sure everybody understood that before we continue on with the video. Okay, ready?
Okay.
I'm hoping that the Wild Harvest Initiative is going to remind people one of the very best ways to provide food for the people is to enhance the capacity of natural systems to produce more wildlife. To provide the absolute finest wild meat and fish that it's possible for human beings to obtain. The 40 to 50 million people who actually harvest all of this wild meat and fish, they do an amazing thing. They eat it all. We have incredibly abundant wildlife populations that could be managed to increase the amount of wild food that can be made available to the citizens of our countries. One of the great things about spending time in the outdoors is that people reconnect with what is their natural home. Our natural home for 99% of our human existence, and every aspect of it, from the physicality of it, the smells, the wind, the sun, the rain. Every aspect of it reminds us that it's right, that it's where we belong. The wild meat is generally higher in protein. It is higher in minerals and vitamins. It is lower in cholesterol than many other domestic forms of protein production. But it also relates to the physical activity that we must undertake to actually acquire it. There is a growing body of evidence to indicate that there are psychological and psychophysiological impacts of spending time in nature that are real. And it is my prediction we are going to find that there is a greater and even stronger series of benefits that come to people when they harvest nature. There are many, many roles for people in supporting wildlife and wildlife harvesting. There will be a lot of people who will never hunt, and they'll never fish. But that doesn't mean that those people cannot be not only supportive of those activities, but who will partake in those activities to some extent by actually eating the food. I believe if anybody is responsible for the deliberate death of a wild creature, then I think they cross the line in terms of responsibility. I think animal welfare should be the concern of everybody. People will turn around and say, but you hunt animals, don't you? How can you have a concern for animal welfare? Might consume lives better. The animal that we have to keep under close control, often in small circumstances and in crowded circumstances, or an animal that lives its entire life in the wild. It was born naturally, it lived naturally, and yes, at some point in time, it was killed and it was eaten by another animal. Which of those two animals would you say lives under the system of greater welfare? Maintaining ecological benefits through any food procurement system might, I suppose, most simply be saying, do the least amount of harm to the natural environment possible. And I think the individuals who participate in the harvest actually accomplish that. They manage to harvest vast amounts of food, but they do so in a way that does not lead to habitat destruction, that does not require the input of chemicals of any kind, of fertilizers or pesticides. It does not require that the animals be treated with antibiotics or any kind of disease protection system, and that they simply harvest these wild animals largely through hunting on foot. That does very, very little damage to the natural environment. There are very, very few food procurement systems in the world that can say that this is true about them. I think the wild harvesting by recreational users has a very, very high score with respect to maintaining ecological integrity and the ecological benefits of natural landscapes.
You know, one of the most amazing things about all this food is that nobody can tell us exactly where it's all come from. Unlike those of us who harvest our own food, we know exactly where that food comes from.
There's a big myth out there that wildlife exists by accident. You just take people out of the equation and it will all be there. Well, let me tell you, that's not how it works. The group of people who participate are by far and away the single most supportive group economically of conservation programs in Canada and in the United States. The hunter and angler pays, of course, for the privilege to be able to hunt and fish. He buys a license. Pay excise taxes of the equipment that they use that have actually provided billions, with a B, directly to the conservation of wildlife in state and provincial circumstances. And there's no doubt that there are many, many circumstances where small local communities rely very, very heavily, if not for their very existence, on the hunting and angling seasons and the numbers of people who come into their locales at that time. But further, think about the economic demands on society writ large. If hunting and angling go away, it has to be provided in some other way. And that is going to place an enormous financial burden on society writ large, whereas right now, the vast majority of that burden is borne by the very people who engage in those activities. Why anyone would want to throw that economic model out and replace it with an alternative one, I don't know. It is easy for somebody to say, perhaps, that I don't really care about these activities of hunting and angling because I don't do them. They are capable of living in circumstances such as a high rise in a large urban center and believe that they are not impacted by what happens in the natural world in their country, then I guess they don't eat, and I guess they don't drink water, and I guess they don't breathe air.
There can be no doubt of its potential to a normalizing of hunting and angling, to a renewed and escalated benefits assessment of wildlife's value, and to increased efforts for wildlife conservation.
If hunting and angling were to disappear, it would impact you. It would change the world around you. And I sincerely hope you do care.
All right. It didn't look like I lost anybody, right? Everybody stuck around. What'd you think? Thumbs up, really cool. Thumbs down, I didn't really care. Yeah.
So I kind of have a hard understanding like the point a little bit.
Yeah, that's okay, because that's what we're going to talk about. And so I'm glad that you said that. Okay. So there's a lot of big words in there, and that makes it a little bit confusing. So what I would like to spend the next 5 minutes doing is I would like for, if you think you know what that video was about and you think you understood, I want you to raise your hand and I'm going to call on you. I can't have everybody unmuting themselves at the same time. So just raise your hand and give me a quick couple sentences on what you think that video was really about. And I really do appreciate you guys staying through the whole video. I know it was long, but it's one of my very favorite videos that I like to share with kids, because I think it was done really well. I think Shane did a fabulous job creating it. Okay. So the first hand that I saw go up was Mason and Parker. Guys, do you want to tell me what you think that video was about?
I think it was about not killing nature.
Well,
like destroying it.
Yeah, so part of it is protecting nature. Yeah, part of it is protecting nature through sustainably eating the animals that are in nature. So it's kind of tricky. Okay. Good job, Mason and Parker. How about Mallory? Mallory, you want to tell me what you think it was about?
Parts of it were about how much it would impact the whole world if people didn't hunt.
Yeah. And do you know, Mallory, before you mute yourself again, I'm gonna take that for a second. So how much it would impact the world if people didn't hunt. So what would happen, Mallory? And there's no wrong answer. So if you feel like you don't know, I just want you to try to guess, unless you're really uncomfortable guessing, and then that's okay too.
There would be less meat in the grocery stores, and people wouldn't be able to. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's a really good guess. Now I'm going to give you a follow-up question, Mallory. Okay, ready? Okay. Now, the animals that we hunt out in the wild, right? Mm-hmm. Usually, we're going to talk about some of these animals, but some of the more common ones are like deer and elk and antelope. Now, when you go to the grocery store, Mallory, do you see grocery stores selling deer, elk, or antelope?
Not most of the time.
Yeah, not most of the time. So it's not sold in the grocery store. Interesting. Okay, so I want you to think about that. Okay, so we talked about how the world might change if people stopped hunting, and Mallory said, well, maybe there will be less food in the grocery store. But if the food that we're hunting from out in the wild isn't in the grocery store, then what would change the world if we didn't stop hunting? or if we did stop hunting, sorry, if we did stop, if everybody just stopped hunting, what negative impact would there be? Mallory, you can answer, or somebody else, if you know, raise your hand. Ethan, I'm going to go ahead and ask you. I'm going to give you a break, Mallory. Go ahead, Ethan, you're good.
I forgot.
Oh, that's okay. We all forget sometimes. Does anybody know? How about Layla, Abby, and James? Do you guys know what would happen if we all just stopped hunting? What would the negative impact be?
I think the new impact would be less meat, but I think the important impact would be less killing animals.
So there, yes, so there would be less killed animals if we stopped hunting, but everybody put your hands down this time really quick. I'm actually gonna share this with you. So if we were to all stop hunting, okay, we were to stop killing any of the animals out in the wild, what would actually happen is that the animals would continue to reproduce as they do every year, right? And then there would be more and more and more animals, and so many animals that there wouldn't be enough food for the animals to eat. Okay, so part of what hunters like myself and other people that go hunting, part of what we're doing is actually called conservation. Okay, we're working, it's a form of population control. So we have scientists that go out and they do a count of, let's say, deer. How many deer are in New Mexico? And how much land do we know can hold so many deer? Okay. And then they go back and they say, okay, there's actually 200 more deer in New Mexico than what's healthy for our deer population. So then they go to the hunters and they say, okay, hunters and anglers, it's your time. We're giving you the opportunity to kill 200 deer for that fresh meat, because that is actually what's healthy for our land to have. So if we were to stop hunting altogether, then there would just be a continued population growth of all of the animals, and there would be too many. Then the animals would start to get sick and they would start to starve to death, and they wouldn't be thriving and they wouldn't be healthy, and we wouldn't be happy to see the deer because they wouldn't look very good. They wouldn't look like they've been taken care of. So part of hunting is providing the opportunity not only for people to get fresh meat for their family and their friends, but to help with the population control of the animals within our state. Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense to you. Does that make sense? It's okay to give me a thumbs down if it doesn't make sense. It's okay, because we can talk about it a little bit further later. But it looks like almost everybody understands. Ethan and Rowan, I think we'll talk about that. You and I see you guys enough. I see Miss Rowan with her thumb down, and we can talk about that a little bit more later. Okay, Rowan? On our next hike. Okay?
Like the circle of life a little bit.
It's like the circle of life a little bit. Exactly. You're correct. I mean, if we just continue to allow them to repopulate, it would not be a healthy situation. And in turn, we get to have healthy meat and to use and to eat for our family. So I'm going to go back to my presentation really quick, and we are going to talk a little bit about some of the animals that we have here in New Mexico. Okay, I'm just going to go through them super quick. All right, so these are some of the big game animals that you can hunt in New Mexico. In your top left hand corner is an elk. Beautiful elk. Yeah, last year I went elk hunting and I came so close to killing an elk. I actually took a shot and I missed. It was my very first time elk hunting and I didn't make the shot, and that's okay, because part of being out there is just being out in the great outdoors and enjoying the fresh air, and hunting is just so exciting because you have to really learn about the animal and how they move and where they are and how to find them, right? So your bottom right hand corner. Oh, go ahead. What did you say?
Which one's the elk?
Oh, so let me turn on the thing so you can see my mouse. Okay, hold on really quick. So this one up here, this is the elk. You should see my mouse. Do you guys see my mouse now?
It just
Yeah, okay.
You could
Just
annotate.
on my side, it looks like the left.
Oh, it's flipped. I'm so glad you said something. Yes. Okay. So this is the elk.
You could annotate and put like a star on the elk or a heart on the deer.
Yes, I could. You're correct. But if I start drawing on my screen, I always forget to delete it. And then I move to the next page and then it's all on the next page. So it's better that I just use the mouse. I'm not super technology savvy. I like being outside, not on a computer. Okay, so here's our elk up here. Okay. And here down here is a mule deer. They look a little similar, right? I mean, they're on 4 legs. They're kind of the same color. The elk has bigger, what are these called? Who can tell me?
Horn.
Antlers.
Antlers. Yes, they have bigger antlers. I wish I was in my office. Out of all days
Antlers.
not to be in my office, I have tons of antlers in my office. I could have showed you guys some elk and deer antlers.
Their face is shaped differently. And they
Yes, their face is shaped a little bit different. The elk has a little bit darker and thicker neck, right? The elk usually, not usually, almost always, is much larger than a deer. Okay.
Yeah, because the elk's mouth looks a little bit like longer to the bottom, and then
Mhm.
yeah, and then the deer is like more straight and pointy.
Yes, you are correct. All right, moving on. So up here in the top, these are the pronghorns. Okay, down here, this is javelina. If you were in my class, you know last year I shot a javelina, and I have some pictures for you guys later. And we have these in southern New Mexico, way down south. You can hunt javelina. We have bighorn sheep. Did you know that? Because you definitely don't see them in Albuquerque, right? We have bighorn sheep and we have Barbary sheep, 2 different types of sheep in New Mexico. We have oryx. This is a pretty crazy looking animal. Who would have thought? Where do you think that this animal originated from? Do you think that it's native to New Mexico?
No.
No, it's not native to New Mexico. And the first person I can see on my screen, I know she already spoke today, but I'm going to let her do it, is Mallory. Mallory, where do you think that animal came
I
from?
think my parents told them they're from Africa.
Yes, you're correct.
From Africa.
Yes, you're correct. Yeah, very good, Mallory.
Yeah.
So that animal is actually originally from Africa, and it is now, we do have a small population of it here in New Mexico. On
Looks
the
like a
very, I like, yeah, its face is black and white. Yeah, it looks like a cow. But can you see, actually, it's long. Do you see its long horns up here? Yeah, it's crazy.
Like a big.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. On the bottom down here, you'll see this is an ibex. And when I think of this, I think of a specific superhero. Can anyone think of something, a superhero that we know of that has that kind of a horns kind of coming up here? Anybody?
Loki.
Loki. Yeah, that's exactly who I was thinking of. You're right. It looks like Loki to me. Yes, you are so correct.
That's such.
He's a bad one.
Yeah, well, oh, that's true. He's not. Oh, yeah, my son just came and corrected me too. He's like, he is not a superhero. He is a bad guy. Sorry, my bad, guys. he's not a superhero. He is a bad guy, but he's in the superhero movies. So to
He's an anti-hero. He's an anti-hero.
Yeah, an anti-hero.
Who's
Yeah, exactly.
Loki?
Who's Loki? Oh man, maybe if we have time at the end of class, I'll show you who Loki is. Okay. It's Thor's brother. My son said it's Thor's brother. Okay, but I can show you pictures later. We'll see. Okay, maybe we'll do a side by side of an ibex and Loki if we have time at the end of class. Okay.
He's cool and funny.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so here's some other things. So moving away from big game. So those were considered big game, right? Now we're looking at some of our feathered friends. So there's in the top corner right here, we have quail. And there's 4 different type of quail here in New Mexico that you can go hunt. Okay. The bottom is turkey down here. Gobble, gobble. I have one in my backyard, but I do love turkey hunting too. I'm actually going turkey hunting again on Friday. And I'm going to show you some pictures of me turkey hunting too. And some fish. There are other birds too. I just didn't go into all of it. We have grouse. We have other things here in New Mexico that you can hunt too. You can also hunt duck. You can hunt a lot of animals, but we're moving on to some fish. So we have the Gila trouts, and we have largemouth bass that you can hunt or angle fish here in New Mexico. Now we're going to play a quick game. All right. You got to raise your hand. All right, here we go. We're going to guess what this meat came from. Not this one. This is just my opening screen. I want you to look at this. Okay. And after all those animals that I told you about, I want you to type in the chat and tell me, what animal do you think that this came from?
Mommy, what animal do you think this came from?
What animal do you think this came from? If you can, type it in the chat. Okay.
So it's
If not, you can raise your hand and I'll try to call on you when I'm ready. I want everybody to think about it. Think about what you know about your body parts and what animal this could come from. And then bonus points if you can think about where on the animal it came from. So I see some guesses. I'm going to read them out. Oh gosh. Okay. Let's see. We have quail, deer, turkey, elk, deer, crab, crab, deer. Do we have crab in New Mexico, Isabella? Oh, I guess down at the river we do. I've seen little crabs.
We don't have any crab.
I've seen little crabs at the river, but
I
not
never seen
crabs
any.
like that, like the big crabs that you would eat. Duck, turkey, deer, duck. Ibex, deer, duck, javelina. My brother says turkey. Somebody said a back. Turkey, cow, elk. I like whoever has my name today also wrote gross. I like that. That's kind of funny. Elk. Okay. So I want everybody to mute and then I want you to drum roll for me on something. Drum roll. Ready? Here we go. It's an elk. It's an elk. Oh, yeah. So it's actually.
It looks really big.
Yeah, it does look really big. That's one clue. It's actually it's the back portion. If you can feel your spine,
It's
right?
spine.
Exactly.
Spine.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. See, look at that. Now I want to go back for a second. Look at that meat. I want everybody to look at that meat. When I look at that meat, I'm like, that looks so tasty. I know some of you don't eat meat on this call, and I know that, and that's okay. I respect that. But elk meat is.
Some of the pieces look raw.
Well, that's because
Like
they're
the
actually
red
just a
pieces.
little more red. They're not raw. Oftentimes fresh from the field meat, not from the grocery store, will actually continue to have a red tint to it, even when it is fully cooked. So there's a lot less. There's a lot less fat on the meat. Why might there be a lot less fat on wild meat?
How do you know?
Because they don't have a lot of fat things to eat. Oh, I know. It's because they eat grass and veggies.
Well, they do eat grass and veggies.
People aren't feeding them every day and they have to go find it themselves.
Okay, hold on. It's either, I think it's Naomi or Bethany. Go ahead, girls. One of you, whoever's trying to talk.
If it always stay red when it's cooked or not cooked, how do you know when it's cooked?
Actually, that's a very good question, Naomi. The answer to that question is temperature. When you take the temperature of the meat when you're cooking it, it gets to a certain degree, and then you know that it's fully cooked. Okay. Then I'm going to go back to the first question that we had. Why is there less fat on this meat? Let's think about a cow being raised on a farm. Do they have a ton of space to run around and play and get exercise?
No.
They're typically contained into a small space, and they don't get to move around a lot. And if we get contained in a small space, yes, out in the wild, they can roam free. They go wherever they want. They run, they frolic, they climb up hills, they climb down hills, they walk all day long. Therefore, they burn all of the fat in their body. So there is not a lot of fat on fresh meat. Okay. All right. Everybody mute yourselves. I'm going to check the group chat really quick. We've got some stuff going on in there. Hold on. Okay. Going to our next one. We knew that one was elk, right? All right,
Is
take a look
that
at it. Type it in
is
the
that a
group chat.
link?
Type it in the group chat.
That one's a different one?
It's a different meat. It is not elk. Type it in the group chat and tell
Doesn't
me
look
what you
like
think.
fish.
Okay, let's see. I'm gonna find our group chat again. So I'm seeing deer, turkey, chicken, definitely not chicken because we're talking about animals that we can find out in the wild. I
What
see
was
cow. We're talking about animals that we can find out in the wild, not cow. Cow are actually herd animals and they're kept in a farming situation.
What was the one that looked like a cow, but wasn't?
Oh, an ibex.
Okay, that one.
Yeah. Okay, fish, cow, turkey, cow. All of you are guessing cow. Guys, we are not talking about cows here. We are talking about animals that are in the wild. Quail, fish, deer, fish.
Excuse me.
Fish, deer. Yes, who said excuse me?
Michaela.
Go ahead, Michaela, my love. Go ahead.
Bulls are in the wild, and bulls are just bigger horned, still free animals that are very close relatives to cows.
Oh, so
don't
bulls
think
are not
cows
actually in the wild. They are not. So typically, if you go out on public land, way in the middle of the mountains, sometimes you'll see cows, right? And then you're like, why?
Yeah.
What do you mean, Miss Sarah? Cows are out in the wild. But not really. That's actually part of a
They need a lot
ranch.
of land.
It's actually part of a rancher's land, and they're allowed to let their cows roam freely on the land. Okay, so when you see a cow or a bull out in the mountains or out far away from any buildings or anything like that, it's not a wild cow or bull. It's actually just on a very, very large ranch. Okay, and what happens is ranchers will move their cows from very large pieces of land to another large piece of land to another large piece of land. Okay, so they're not actually wild. They're just on a big, big ranch.
If you go to El Paso, you see a bunch of cows in a farm.
Miss Sarah,
If you come to my backyard, you see 2 cows. Yes, Gio.
I was gonna say that me and my mom went camping a couple days ago.
Mhm.
In a place that just in the forest somewhere,
Mhm.
and we saw a couple cows, and it wasn't like it owned properly.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes that does happen too. Yeah, sometimes the cows get out where they're not supposed to be. But cows are owned by someone. Cows typically are not out in the wild. Okay, so
So
I'm
where
going to
did
tell
the
you.
farmers get it from?
What do you mean? Where do the farmers get it from?
Yeah,
Where did they find the cow from? Where did the cow first come from? The forest. They can't make cows.
Well, cows have been agriculturally raised for many, 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 many years. That would be like asking where I got my cow. I didn't just like pick up some dirt in my backyard and build a dirt cow, and then all of a sudden it was a cow, right? I bought it from a
where
ranch.
did they find it? The first cow in the world, where did they find it? Probably in the forest.
Gio, you know what happens when you ask me tricky questions, right?
I think they're native to Africa.
You, my dear, now have the job of researching where the very first cow came from. And then next week, you can tell us where the very first cow came from. Okay? Okay. That's your job, Gio. Now, don't forget, that's your extra homework. Okay? I need everybody to mute themselves. Hold up. Yep, you got to mute yourselves. We got 15 minutes left, and I have to be done at 12 o'clock today, guys. Okay? Mute yourselves. Drum roll. Drum roll. What is this meat? What is this meat? What is this meat? Here it goes. Here it goes. Here it goes. It's a javelina. So that is actually my boss. That's Jesse Dubell. He works for New Mexico Wildlife Federation, and that's a javelina that he killed as well. Okay. That's actually a javelina as well. This is a very easy one to guess. Fish, right? Those are some trout. Yummy, yummy trout. Here are some kids fishing, right? This is my daughter right here, fishing right here, right? this is a yummy dish made from fresh,
I know. It's
from the,
I know it's a deer.
it's
no,
actually, I actually don't,
Cow.
you know, honestly, no, it's not cow.
Pig.
No, it's not pig either. Nope, because those are all agricultural animals. Those are not animals that you can go in our public lands here in New Mexico and find. Okay. This is a dish that Jesse, my boss, made. Here's another one. This is pastrami. He made duck pastrami and he made a sandwich out of it. So this is just gives you a quick little, I'm not going to go over it too much, but if we look at up here,
I
you
know another.
Go
I know
ahead.
another animal that's here and it's wild and you can eat it.
Okay, go ahead. What?
Rabbit.
Oh, yes, absolutely. You can absolutely eat rabbit. You're right. Correct.
You do not eat rabbits. That is
can.
bad.
A lot of
That
people.
is very
Yeah, a
bad.
lot of
You should go to jail for that.
Do you
I
know
was
what?
doing a
Shh,
bunny.
listen,
Yes.
listen, you guys. Do you know? Okay, so you guys know I have a farm
Yeah.
and I have chickens and ducks.
Mhm.
And lately I haven't been getting any eggs. None. Zero. I was getting like 15 chicken eggs a day and I was getting like 7 duck eggs a day. And now all of a sudden, nothing. I'm like, what is going on? So I bought a little live trap, not to kill the animal, but a live trap, right? I got 3 squirrels and I rehomed the squirrels somewhere else. I took them far, far away on the other side of the river and I took them away from my house so hopefully they wouldn't eat my eggs. Then, wait, hold on. Not the end of the story. Then, yesterday, I went out to my live trap. Do you know what I found?
I think you found a rabbit.
Eggs. Your own ducks.
Oh, eggs.
I think you found your own animals in it. Ducks.
No,
You found
no.
a bear.
Here.
A bear? A bear? My trap is like this big. It's like big enough for a squirrel.
His head got stuck inside of the
No,
trap.
not a bear. Not a bear. I'm gonna give you 2 more guesses.
Was it a deer?
No, Michaela.
Was it
A deer is not going to
Was
fit
it a
in here.
mouse?
It was
Was
not
it
a
a
mouse.
mouse?
Nope. It's
Was it a
black.
colony
Listen,
axe?
I'm gonna give you some clues.
A fish.
It's black.
A goat.
Raccoon.
It's black.
Skunk.
It's white. And it stinks really, really bad.
Skunk.
It's in my backyard.
Go.
I hope you're not stinky still.
Oh, I'm not stinky. It didn't skunk me.
It's a skunk.
I didn't get skunked. My backyard is
Oh wow.
Did it skunk?
Skunk.
Skunk the cave?
It's a skunk.
it was a skunk. You're right, you guys.
So I haven't ever eaten rabbit before. I've
Okay.
never eaten rabbit before.
3, 2, 1. I need
Skunk.
everybody to mute. Everybody to mute. I know it got super exciting there for a second, but I gotta have everybody muted or I can't hear you guys, okay? So I found a skunk in my cage. I was like, oh my goodness, I don't want to touch the skunk because that's stinky and I don't want to get stinky. So we can save that story for another day as to what happened to Mr. Skunky. But today we're going to go right back to our presentation. We're going to look right here. I want to show you guys on this top, you can see wild turkey. And then on the bottom, you can see butterball turkey. Butterball turkey is a very common turkey that we buy for Thanksgiving, right? So if we look at the calories, they're pretty much the same, right? Not so bad. But I want you to look right here. You see the butterball turkey on the bottom where it says sodium. Sodium is another word for salt. Salt is not so great for our bodies, okay? We're not supposed to ingest a lot of salt every day, okay? It does a lot of nasty things to our body.
We would die without salt, a little bit of salt.
Yes, a little bit, but not a lot. So what I want us to look at right here is the sodium for a butterball turkey is 1,090 milligrams of salt. Whereas if we look up here at a wild turkey, 67 milligrams. Which one do you think is healthier? Thumbs up if you think it's the wild turkey, thumbs down if you think it's the butterball turkey. Oh yeah, your thumb should be all the way up, right? So we're looking over here at the deer roast and then a beef roast. Not exactly the same, but relatively similar, okay? And you can kind of see the same thing. We have a lot of sodium in that beef roast, not so much in a deer roast, okay? A little more cholesterol in our deer roast, okay? But definitely more calories in our beef roast. And then looking over at our fish, same thing, lots of sodium in a rainbow trout purchased at Albertsons, whereas if you buy it fresh or if you catch it fresh out of the stream, there's way less sodium, right? More calories in the one from Albertsons. So it's just giving us, it gives us something to think about. If we can get meat off of our lands and we can feed our bodies healthier, why wouldn't we want to? Because we're helping our bodies, we're helping our family, we're helping as conservationists by not letting the animals overpopulate in our land, right? Lots of good reasons for it, okay? Oh, okay, hold on. I'm actually here we go. I needed to update my presentation to show you guys some pictures. So here's me, all right? So you guys can see. This is me when I was out javelina hunting. This is me just a couple weeks ago when I was out turkey hunting. Here's me, that's a rainbow trout and I was fishing. I do love fishing. Here's me, cheesing. Because guys, I always cheese to you guys like that. And then here is the javelina that I killed last year. And here we're way out in the field still and we're learning how to gut it and pull all of its organs out so that we can carry it back and take it home and skin it and quarter it and make dinner out of it. So that, my friends, is all the slides that I have for you today. Now I want to be able to ask questions and think about any things that you guys want to talk about, okay?
Could we see Loki?
Let's see. Hold on really quick.
I have a pellet sniper rifle.
Oh, you do?
It-
Okay. Here, let me find it.
That's gonna take me to go hunt.
Yes,
summer.
that's actually the question I was just going to ask everybody, but hold on. I want to get back to the main screen before I,
Only if you're supposed to last.
okay. So here's Loki. And do you see up here in the top corner, he has the same type of horns that we were talking about, right? Very much looks like Loki, very much. All right. Okay, I'm going to try my best to answer all questions, okay? And I'm going to go down how I see them on my screen, okay? So if I haven't asked you yet, it's just because I haven't gotten there yet. Abby, James, and Layla, go for it.
Bears also kind of hunt because they hunt for like fish when they're in the wild. They use their bare hands and grab the fish and eat it.
You are very correct. There's a natural selection between animals as well, even if humans don't become involved, where there is a food chain and larger animals eat the smaller animals. You are correct. Okay, Eric Jackson Stormy, go for it.
Okay, so where do you go to go hunt?
Well, it depends what animal I'm hunting for, and then what permission I have to hunt. So here in New Mexico, you actually have to put in for the draw, and you have to put your name in and say, okay, I want to hunt this. I want to hunt deer, elk, javelina, all these animals, right? And then your name gets put in, and if your name gets pulled, then you're allowed to go hunt those animals, because not everybody can do it. Because remember, there's a science behind it. If we just said, everybody go kill as many deer as you want, then there wouldn't be a healthy population of deer. There's a fine balance between providing the opportunity to hunt and over hunting a piece of land. So you have to be able to have permission to go do it. This year, for 2021, I actually did not draw a tag for anything other than javelina. So I won't be hunting elk or deer or anything else this year. But for every species of animal, it varies where in New Mexico you would go hunting for them.
Okay, it was cool. there's this giant squirrel that took our bean bags, and we were gonna set up a snare trap, but then he didn't come back.
Oh, bummer.
But I
Okay.
set up a trap.
Who said that?
I set up a trap for him.
Oh, you did set up a trap. All right, cool. Okay, Brooklyn and Adeline, what question or what do you guys want to say?
Who was the video by and what was it called?
The video is called the Wild Harvest Initiative by Shane Mahoney. But I'll send you guys the link to it. too.
Shane Mahoney.
Shane, not Mashane, just Shane.
Shane, my homie.
Shane Mahoney. But Brooklyn and Adeline, I'll send everybody a link so you guys can watch it again if you want to, okay?
Shane Mahoney.
Yes, Gio. Okay, I know your name is not Valerie, but Valerie, you're next.
So there's this people that hunt quail, and I got to like take off the feathers, and then I got to use my hand. Like we cut open, it's like back, I think, and then we got to like all look at the heart and.
Are you in the Geo Co-op?
I'm in Nature Co-op.
Yes, that's so Nature Co-op is also one of the programs of Nature Niños and New Mexico Wildlife Federation. So you have Miss Christina. Yes, so Miss Christina is my friend. Miss Christina works for me and she runs the Nature Co-op. So you did it with Tyler and his wife Nikki, and you guys got to explore the quail a ton, right? High five, dude. Was it awesome? Yeah, so awesome. Cool. Very awesome. I'm glad you had a good time doing that. Let me go back down the line. Make sure you raise your hand if you have something you want to say. Michaela, go for it.
The thing I want to say was about how it was a little bit back about how we could how not hunting would affect us. What I thought of was that we would slowly start going out of our natural ways and how we actually can do stuff, and people would stop wanting to even go outside. They would just go outside and they wouldn't leave the towns. They wouldn't go hiking. It would affect us because we wouldn't have anything really to go do and look to see, because if we stopped hunting, well, yes, that'd be way too much. The path would be blocked by animals. And then
Michaela,
and it wouldn't
if
work.
you were in the same room as me right now, I would hug you, my dear. That is a fabulous answer, because I can tell you it is a perfect reason to get outside. And one of those reasons is to go hunting. And I can tell you, as someone who does go hunting, it is a lot of exercise on your body, and our bodies need that. That's how we used to get our food. We were hunters and gatherers. We didn't always go to the grocery store. Our bodies say, please get outside. Please walk up and down those mountains. Please climb the trees. That's what our bodies are telling us to do. And if go ahead, Michaela.
A long time ago, we would actually listen to those and go do it when we needed to do it. That's why, if there were still bodies that were made in that were in that time that still had flesh on them, you can compare it to a normal body that died just recently now and see how much different in ways and how much different they looked and you can see how different they behaved.
I agree.
Because they would have less fat on them.
I agree.
They would have to walk around all the places.
Yep. Very good. Very good, my dear. Okay, Estrella, go ahead.
I have a joke.
Does it have to do with what we're talking about? It does? Okay, go for it then.
What did the cow say to the sloth?
I don't know what.
Let's move.
Nice. Okay. Good job. Mason and Parker, what do you guys got to say? And then Naomi, you're next.
I was going to say that I was thinking was the same thing you were thinking that you said.
Which part of it?
If we stopped hunting.
Yeah. It's really important. Really, really important. Good job. All right, Naomi and then Harper.
What's your favorite thing to hunt?
So that's a tricky question because as an adult, I'm a pretty new hunter. Okay. I've always fished my entire life, but I grew up with my dad hunting. And so as a kid, I would go hunting with my dad, but I wasn't the one actually hunting. I was just with my dad. And so I don't know. I actually just enjoy being outside and I enjoy the challenge of finding the animal. And I think it's really interesting. It's so much to learn and I really love learning. And so I don't know that I have a favorite one yet, but that's a good question. Harper, your turn.
One more thing.
Okay.
When people win, they gotta look
They
for
can
animals.
control all the
Wait.
questions
Hold on, Harper, really quick, Lev. Hold on, Harper. Sorry, Lev. Go ahead, Naomi.
Do we have to stay here until all the questions are done?
No, you can go if you want to go. It's okay. You're totally fine. Okay? And if you are, see you later, alligator. I'll see you later, okay? Okay, Harper, now your turn, Lev.
How many minutes does it take to find an animal?
Oh my gosh, so many minutes. Sometimes it takes.
Bye, everybody. I'm gonna go to bed.
Okay, bye guys. Bye, Isabella. Sometimes it takes days and days and days, Harper. Last year, we went deer hunting and we were deer hunting for 4 days.
See that? Charlotte, yes.
Go.
4 days and we still didn't end up killing a deer. We didn't even find a deer.
All right, I'm gonna go.
Okay, see you later, Gio.
See you later.
All right, it looks like Kamari has a question.
I was going to ask you what your email was.
Oh, my email, I'll put it in the group chat for you right now, okay? That way you have it, okay? Hey, make sure you guys are being nice in our group chat. I'm seeing some not so nice things that people are saying.
Who said you suck?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I just saw. I didn't even see it before. That's not cool. Okay, any other questions? It looks like James, Abby, and Layla have a question. And then Levi and Sella, you guys are next, okay?
I was wondering if we could do bring your pet to class day again.
Oh, I can totally schedule something like that. Yeah, we can get that on. Yeah, of course, no problem. All right, Levi and Sella, go ahead.
A few days ago, me, my friend, we went they live up on the mountains. We went hunting with them and we shot a bunny and we actually skinned it and all that. Yeah, and bunnies taste like chicken a lot.
I was going to ask you if you ate it, but obviously you did. Yeah. And that's a key element. You never kill anything unless you're going to eat it, right? That's one of the first rules of hunting. High five right there, Levi. Good job, bud. Yeah.
What's all this?
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Ethan, go ahead. Oh, no, I can't hear you, Ethan. Nope, I still can't hear you. Oh.
We're going fishing this weekend.
Fishing without me? You're going fishing this weekend? You're also going fishing next week at, maybe not, at Shady Lakes. Are you guys coming to Shady Lakes next week? I can't remember. Right on. All right, cool. All right, last one is Jax, Henry, and Calvin, and then I gotta go, you guys.
I'm going hunting next week.
What are you hunting for?
Elk.
Awesome. You're hunting elk right now?
No, but in 6 months.
Oh, yeah. So you guys are just going to go scouting maybe a little bit and see if you can find them?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Very awesome. Congratulations.
We're also Bye.
Bye. See you later, bud.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. I'm out.
Bye.
See you later. Okay. Bye, guys. See you later. Have a good day.
Bye.